Well, hello, everybody out there and in here. Today has been a wonderful, beautiful day today on Saturday. A little bit of rain in Southern California. But what I wanted to talk to you about was fear. Fear is one of the probably the most paralyzing things that can happen to people. When I was a young parent, when my son was 3 or 4 years old, I heard an interesting statistic. 85 to 90% of all abuse to children, physical or sexual, is from family, friends, and neighbors. So me being an engineer, I thought, well, if 85 to 90% of all abuse is from family, friends, and neighbors, I told my son, don't talk to family, friends, or neighbors. Now, if you stop and think about it a while, if you teach your child to be shy and acquiesce and a little bit fearful of strangers, guess what victimizers like? They like the fearful. So by teaching a child to be shy and not talk to strangers and be, stranger danger and all that stuff, we're actually teaching our children how to be better victims. What we probably should do is we should give wisdom to our children. When Uncle Jim's drinking, it's a good idea to give him some space, things like that. And my son is now 29 years old. He has never been victimized physically or sexually from family, friends, or neighbors, or for that matter, strangers, because strangers haven't picked on him, simply because he's not fearful. He'll talk to somebody, a complete stranger, and be open. And I think that's what's particularly troublesome in USA today, is we see a lot of fear. Fear promotes more fear, and fear just feeds onto itself, because news and media stories that have fear or fright or some scary things happening or something tragic sells more news than happy, the world is fine and everything will be okay. If you say the world's going to be fine and everything's going to be okay and humanity is going to be at peace, it doesn't sell as many copies for the publishers and the newspapers and stuff like that. What we need to do in America is, I believe, to really take a look at what we have done in the world today as an empire. If you stop and think about it, a lot of people in America currently are afraid of terrorist groups, primarily from the Middle East right now. If you stop and think about the terrorist groups from the Middle East, we look at ourselves as being victims of them. When in actuality, if you stop and think about it, in the last 100 years, how many Muslim countries, as a country, has attacked a Christian country? In the last 100 years, how many predominantly Christian population countries have attacked Muslim countries? But yet we look at ourselves as being victims. And the fear translates itself. Unfortunately, we're really not the complete victims. During the two Afghanistan war and the Iraqi war and other conflicts that we've had around the world, we've actually caused a huge death toll in Iraq of well over 100,000 non-combatants, which would be family members, children, grandparents, mothers, things of that nature, from our bombings and our things. The only thing that we can stop all of this terror and fear is to acknowledge the hand of violence and the terror that we inflicted in those countries, and to make amends, to become peacemakers. In fact, Jesus himself said in many of his great sermons, especially the Sermon on the Mount, he said, "Blessed be the peacemakers." He didn't say, "Blessed be the terrorists, the soldiers, the sheriffs, police officers." He said, "Blessed be those that bring peace to the world." for they shall inherit the earth. Not the soldiers, they will not inherit the earth, or the greedy politicians, the peacemakers. So, if we look at developing peace in the world, it is our responsibility and is our advocation. It should be at the heart of all that we do, to find peace in strength, not in weakness, and to love our neighbors and our enemies as ourselves, and to make good and to be upright. The problem with the U.S. growth is that for the past 50 to 100 years, we've used our military to extract wealth from Asia, Latin America, the Middle East, with both our military, with our CIA, and all of our various different jackals and things of that nature, destabilizing countries, importing weapons of war from third world countries, and destabilizing their governments by all of our wars, selling our manufacturing defensibility. I'll talk at that at some length in a later video. But really, let's focus back on peace, and let's not be fearful of strangers. Let's welcome strangers. Let's have confidence. Let's not be fearful, because victimizers can see the fear. Again, thank you very much. Please follow me, subscribe to me. Tell me if I'm full of monkey bunk in the comments below, and I will be kind and listen to your comments. Follow and share. Thank you very much.